Africa is rich. Rich in gold, rich in oil, rich in cocoa, copper, and diamonds. But if history has taught us anything, it's that in Africa, natural resources are rarely a blessing. More often, they are a curse. And yet, in the heart of southern Africa, one country defied the curse: Botswana. In 1966, it was one of the poorest nations on earth. Today, it is one of Africa's richest, an upper-middle income economy with stable democracy, good governance, and one of the lowest corruption rates on the continent. The secret? Diamonds. But not just diamonds. What Botswana did with them. This is the story of the only African country that got rich from diamonds. From poverty to diamonds in the desert. When Botswana became independent in 1966, few gave the tiny landlocked nation a chance. It was one of the poorest countries in the world, written off by many as a forgotten corner of the Kalahari. The British had ruled it as a protectorate, but in truth, they protected very little. When the Union Jack came down, Botswana was left with almost nothing. No industries, no infrastructure, no wealth. The numbers tell the story. The entire country had just 12 kilometers of paved roads. Literacy was below 30%. Hospitals were few and far between. Its economy depended almost entirely on cattle, and droughts often wiped out even that fragile livelihood. With a GDP per capita of only $70, Botswana stood at the bottom of the global economic ladder. The odds were stacked against it. Landlocked, surrounded by apartheid South Africa and white-ruled Rhodesia, Botswana seemed destined for dependency and poverty. And then, fate intervened. In 1967, just a year after independence, geologists struck something extraordinary in the dusty town of Orapa, deep in the Kalahari Desert: diamond. And not just a handful of scattered stones. Vast, world-class deposits glittering beneath the sand. Botswana, the country that had almost nothing, was suddenly sitting on one of the richest diamond fields on Earth. For most nations, this would be the beginning of disaster. Across Africa, diamonds had been less a blessing and more a curse, fueling greed, corruption, and bloody conflict. Sierra Leone, Angola, and the DRC had all been torn apart by the very same stones. But Botswana made a different choice. Its leaders vowed the diamonds would not destroy them. The diamonds would build them. The Botswana Model. Leadership, governance, and partnership. Here's the shocking part. Botswana didn't become rich because of diamonds. Plenty of African countries had diamonds. What made Botswana different was how they managed them. It began with leadership. Seretse Khama, Botswana's first president, was not a kleptocrat or strongman. He was determined to make democracy work in Africa. From day one, Botswana built institutions that actually functioned. Parliament debated. Courts stayed independent. The constitution wasn't shredded every few years. And presidents respected term limits, handing over power peacefully, a rarity in Africa. This stability created trust. Investors trusted Botswana. Citizens trusted their government. And when it came to diamonds, Botswana did something revolutionary. In 1969, it struck a deal with De Beers, the world's biggest diamond company. But instead of giving away its resources for pennies, Botswana negotiated a 50-50 joint venture, Debswana. Half the profits stayed in Botswana. Year after year, billions in revenue flowed directly into the national budget. Unlike Angola's diamonds, which fueled war, Botswana's diamonds funded schools, hospitals, and roads. The secret sauce: good governance plus smart partnership. Nation building with diamonds. With billions flowing in, Botswana faced a choice: squander the money like so many others, or use it to build a nation. It chose the latter. Infrastructure. From just 12 kilometers of paved roads, Botswana built thousands. Electricity grids, clean water systems, hospitals, and modern telecoms spread across the desert. Education. At independence, literacy was below 30%. Today, it's over 85%. Universal primary education was introduced, scholarships sent students abroad, and universities were built at home. Botswana trained doctors, engineers, and economists, transforming a generation that once lived by cattle herding into skilled professionals. Healthcare. Clinics and hospitals mushroomed nationwide. Child mortality plummeted. Life expectancy rose dramatically. Accountability. Civil servants were paid well to reduce corruption. Anti-graft laws were enforced. Leaders set the tone by not stealing. Botswana became consistently ranked as the least corrupt country in Africa. In short, Botswana didn't just mine diamond. It mined talent. It mined trust. It mined the future. Saving for tomorrow. The Pula Fund. By the mid-1990s, Botswana had already transformed itself with diamond wealth. Schools, hospitals, highways, and a stable democracy that was the envy of the continent. But its leaders knew a hard truth: diamonds don't last forever. Most resource-rich nations fall into the trap of thinking the good times will never end. Money pours in, governments overspend, and when prices crash or resources run dry, the nation collapses into crisis. Botswana refused to walk that road. In 1994, the country created the Pula Fund, named after Botswana's currency, and also its national motto, Pula, meaning rain. In the Kalahari Desert, rain is life. And in Botswana's economy, the Pula Fund would be life after diamonds. The fund was designed as a sovereign wealth fund, the first of its kind in Africa. Its mission was simple but revolutionary. Take today's diamond profits and invest them abroad in global stocks, bonds, and assets, so that future generations would still benefit long after the last mine closed. It was a long-term vision few African leaders dared to embrace. Where others treated resource money as a personal ATM, Botswana treated it as a trust fund for its grandchildren. The Pula Fund drew inspiration from Norway's oil wealth model, but its symbolism ran deeper. It was a statement of discipline, foresight, and restraint. Every Pula saved was proof that Botswana's diamonds were not just stones to be sold, but seeds for the future. The message was clear both to its people and to the world. Diamonds were not just for today, they were for tomorrow. Why Botswana succeeded and others failed. Diamonds are not magic, they are stones. In the wrong hands, they become weapons of greed and destruction. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, vast diamond wealth fueled decades of civil war and unimaginable suffering. In Sierra Leone, diamonds became blood diamonds, haunting the nation with child soldiers and shattered communities. Angola's riches lined the pockets of a tiny elite while millions went hungry. Botswana, by contrast, chose a radically different path. From the moment its first diamonds were pulled from the Kalahari, the nation made a conscious decision. These stones would build a country, not destroy it. Leadership mattered. Seretse Khama and his successors treated power as a responsibility, not a privilege. Institutions were strengthened, contracts were negotiated wisely, and revenues were carefully managed. Discipline, foresight, and trust became Botswana's most precious resources, far more valuable than the diamonds themselves. In a world where resource wealth often divides nations and fuels conflict, Botswana stands apart. It is the rare exception, a place where vision, integrity, and collective responsibility turned mere stones into dignity, prosperity, and hope. Botswana did not just get rich from diamond, it built a nation, the future, beyond diamonds. But even Botswana faces challenges. The diamond market is slowing, lab-grown diamonds are on the rise, global demand is shifting, and reserves won't last forever. That's why Botswana is now betting big on diversification, expanding into tourism, finance, and technology. Tourism, in particular, is booming, with Botswana marketing itself as a luxury safari destination, the Switzerland of Africa. The question is, after 50 years of diamonds, can Botswana build an economy that thrives without them? Lessons for the world. Botswana's story offers timeless lessons. Good governance beats resources. Diamonds didn't save Botswana. Strong institutions did. Save for the future. The Pula Fund shows discipline creates resilience. Fair partnerships matter. The 50-50 De Beers deal ensured wealth stayed home. Invest in people. Education and healthcare are the real jewels of a nation. Botswana proves it's not what you have, but what you do with what you have. So what do you think? Did Botswana crack the code? Or is it only a matter of time before the diamonds run out and the miracle fades? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this video if you think Africa's true success stories deserve more attention. And subscribe, because next week, we're breaking down how Singapore, a fishing village, became richer than Switzerland.